Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at What If? Weird and Worrying Questions number 6. Yoda asking how much force power does Yoda have? And number 3, which state is flown over most? So let's hit it. The first one here, weird and worrying questions. And these were some weird and worrying questions. First one was, what is the complete and total nutritional value of a human? Oh man, does someone want to eat a human? And I love the little picture there. I need to know by Friday. Shh, here it comes. Maybe that's the person they're going to eat. I'm not sure. How fast does a chainsaw have to be spinning where it's spinning fast enough to cauterize a wound? Cauterize means to like burn. So if you have a cut and you use a laser and go bzzz, then the blood will stop because it'll kind of close up and it'll burn closed. That's cauterizing. So if you had a chainsaw, how fast would it go to be chopped off? And this actually connects a little bit to our next question. If you imagine a lightsaber from Star Wars, this is energy. So when you cut someone's arm off, blood doesn't squirt out because it cauterizes it. It burns it closed so that way the blood doesn't escape. So that is cauterize. And he doesn't answer that one either. So, how much power does Yoda have? Well, first of all, the author says, look, we're going to look at the original trilogy. We're not going to look at the prequel stuff, the after stuff, the cartoon stuff, just looking at the original trilogy. And in this trilogy, the greatest amount of force power we saw was Yoda lifting up the X-Wing. Okay, so how much power is that? If we look at the X-Wing, okay, and it's about the same, it's a similar size to like a fighter jet, just scaled down a little bit. We can get the weight of the X-Wing, and we can understand how fast Yoda was lifting it, and get an idea of the power that Yoda was using. And I think it was like 19 kilowatts. We also had to look at the gravity of not Tatooine. What is it? Babobaki Dopey Dia. I can't remember the planet's name. I'll remember it in a moment. But there's a really crazy website called Wikipedia, and that's where all these like really crazy fans of Star Wars put all the information about the cartoon, the movies, everything, the comic books, the books, all the information there to understand some data. Wikipedia. There is also the Emperor, and the Emperor shoots out some lightning bolt to attack Luke, and so that lightning actually is pretty powerful too. It's about the same as Yoda's. Now, if he was just like shooting out continuously, then he might be more powerful than Yoda, but just like that could be a little bit different. Well, how about Luke's power? Luke's force power, the greatest display of his power was when he called a lightsaber to his hand, and that really wasn't much power at all. So, in the end, the author says, if you were to take Yoda and use his power to power things, you'd need like 10,000 Yodas to power the planet. And although that power would be green, it really wouldn't be a good option, he says. I want to mention here, I actually didn't like his answer to this question because I thought he was going to look at the actual power of the Force that Yoda had and what Yoda could do with his power using the Force, rather than quantifying the power in like electricity or something. So a little disappointed in that answer. The next question is flyover states. Not too interesting of a question, but in America, we have a lot of states that other airplanes fly over. So what are those states that airplanes fly over but they don't land in that state. The winner is Virginia, and he had to look at a lot of different things to figure this out. But the reason is because one, Atlanta. Atlanta is just south of Virginia, I believe, and Atlanta is like the biggest airport in the world, or the most flights going out of the airport. And so flights leaving Atlanta are flying over Virginia, going to other places all over the world. There's also Toronto, and Toronto is sending flights south to past America. And so all of those flights are also adding up to Virginia's flying over airplanes. If you were to look at the ratio, though, of how many flights fly over to how many flights actually land in there, the winner would be Delaware, who doesn't have any flights land there pretty much. So everyone just flies over Delaware. The states that have the least airplanes fly over them are Hawaii and California. Hawaii, because it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, planes don't really fly over it. And California, because when 9/11 happened and the terrorists hit the two towers, the Twin Towers, one of the reasons it exploded so much is because the jets had so much fuel in them. So now whenever there's an international flight, airplanes from other states have to fly to California, land, fuel up, and then fly away. And so all those planes are landing in California. This was a weird one. If you flip the planet upside down and you think about airplanes flying around and the state being under, the most state that's being flown underneath it is Hawaii. And that's because if you look at where America is on the opposite side of the globe, there's the Indian Ocean, and so there's not a lot of flights over there. But Hawaii's in the Pacific Ocean, and behind that is Africa. So there are a few flights, not a lot, but much more than the Indian Ocean. And so the author says, "Oh, poor Virginia, my home state. Next time you're there, look in the sky and say hello to all the flights going over. And if you're in Africa, look down below and say aloha to Hawaii." That leaves us with a few vocabulary words. Expenditure. Expenditure is like spending or using something. The expenditure of energy or force power that Yoda or Luke is using. Par means equal. If you think about golf, right? Shooting par means shooting like normal or equal. You didn't do greater, you didn't do worse. And so we're saying like someone is on par with someone else means equal. Nascent, I actually had to look this word up. That means like new, developing, budding. Luke's starting force power. Stereotypical is the idea in your mind that something is. It might not be true, but that's your imagination. For example, if I say, "What do Americans eat?" If you don't live in America, you're from a different country, you probably think Americans eat hamburgers. Okay, that's not true. That's not their most popular food. Maybe taco, honestly. But you think stereotypically Americans eat hamburgers. If I thought about Japan, what do Japanese people eat? Probably you would say sushi or maybe ramen. Okay, and that's not necessarily true. But in our imagination, we have this bias or this stereotype that we think about. Dominance means to win, to overcome, to defeat. That leaves us with a discussion question, which is simply, not how, who? Who is your favorite Star Wars character? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.